which our school is built is within the ancestral homelands of the Mohican, Paugussett, and Wappinger nations, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. We acknowledge that Indigenous people do not merely exist in history, but are with us today, and that they continue to endure colonial violence. In our dedication to justice and equity, we commit ourselves through direct action and intentional relationships to the long road of reparations and combating the legacy of colonialism and white supremacy that we still live within. And now for our invocation. May we hold our world and its people in our hearts and minds as we join together today for this special ceremony. We come today as people of privilege, grateful for this blessing to be present in this beautiful quad and tuning in from around the world, and hopeful for our shared future. Let us know that each from our own tradition comes today to lift our spirit in togetherness. Knowing that we are part of an interconnected world, let us acknowledge and embrace our oneness. We also know that we can be loving and able stewards of this world. We work so that we can acknowledge our differences as we seek out our common ground, each of us working toward the good of all to lift one another up. We recognize that there is hurt and sorrow, deeds that confound us, and actions for which we can find no justification. Yet, we also know that there is untold good, folks who work every day for the benefit of all. Let us be with them in solidarity. We recognize the inertia that invades us during these difficult times and the occasional tiredness in our bones and in our hearts. And we must call upon our inner strength and that of our community so that we might be our best selves. Let us be the good we want to see in the world. Let us work to be the change that we seek. Let us renew these goals as we embrace what the future holds for all of us. Please be seated.
Welcome to our graduation pandemic edition. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all of you hanging in with us as we managed our way through this pandemic year. And I can't tell you how thrilled I am that we are here today in person. I also know that each and every group of you, there are people who couldn't be here today because of the pandemic restrictions we have on our ceremony. So again, I really appreciate this. Your children have had a phenomenal year. And again, all the cliches apply, unprecedented, a year like no other. But I can't imagine going through it with any other senior class but this one. A few other housekeeping notes, just so you know that there won't be any handshaking or hugs today because of the pandemic, and also that we're asking people not to enter the building, and there are restrooms if you go through what we call Sallyport and to the left. So thank you very much. So now I will get on with the joyful part of the day. So this graduation ceremony is the 112th in Westover's history. And on behalf of the faculty and staff at the school, I would like to welcome you to this special day. To the parents, families, and friends of our graduates, I know you are suspended between pride and disbelief. It seems impossible that the child your mind sees is really the accomplished young woman who sits before you. This is indeed the case. This is her day, and our task is to celebrate her triumphs. This first part of the graduation program is the awarding of prizes. On behalf of the faculty and the Board of Trustees, and the President of the Board of Trustees, Star Sneed, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today, I am pleased to make the presentations. In addition, Star wanted to pass on a few words to this class. Your resiliency, your grace, and your joy. These are traits that carried you through this pandemic and all through your Westover journey. Your perseverance in these past 14 months has been a model not only for those on campus, but for the entire Westover community around the world. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations. Though I wasn't able to be there in person today, please know that you have been ever on my mind and in my heart. I wish you the very best on your journey after Westover and look forward to seeing you at future alumni events. Westover forevermore. So thank you, Star. And we will now move on to the awarding of prizes. And I believe Shelby Neal is assisting me today. So departmental scholarship prizes for outstanding scholarship. The Elizabeth Hosmer Kellogg Prize for Excellence in English goes to Lexus Loco. The Elizabeth Wade White Prize for Excellence in English goes to Katie Wolf. The Julie P. McClintock Prize for Excellence in French goes to Naomi Filipiak. The Linda Summers Smith Prize for Excellence in Spanish goes to McKenna Rook. The Jane Wells Cheever Prize for Excellence in Science goes to Anran Annie Chow, who is with us remotely today. So we accept it on her behalf. The Julius B. Smith Prize for Excellence in Mathematics goes to Jayron Janelle Wu, and she also is with us remotely, so we will accept on her behalf. The Francis Sortwell Perry Prize in the History of Fine Arts for Excellence in Art History goes to Maddie Aho. The Gail Whitney Stir Prize for Excellence in Studio Art goes to Allison McKenna. The Music Prize for Excellence in Music and Outstanding Contribution to Music at Westover goes to Madeline Abate. And these last four prizes recognize some of the personal qualities that we at Westover believe essential. The Louise Bulkley Dillingham Prize to a student who has exemplified integrity goes to Stacy Shiaka. The Westover Parents Association Prize to a senior for valuable contribution to school life goes to Anna Cruz. The Mr. and Mrs. Harry Webster Walker II Community Service Prize to a senior for outstanding service to the wider community goes to Asaya Montembeau. And our final prize is the Mary Robbins Hillard Prize to a senior who, through leadership, has shown qualities of initiative, perseverance, and courage, and this goes to Irene Kim. And now, the senior class gift will be presented by our Athletic Association heads, Anna Cruz and Katie Broadsmith.
Though it was a challenging year to raise money during a pandemic, we are excited to announce that with the help of faculty, staff, friends, and family, that we were successful.
After much thought and deliberation, the class of 2021 has decided to gift Westover with therapy pets during exam week next year. We hope that the community will enjoy. Thank you.
Oh, I love that. That's such a nice gift. Thank you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our senior student speaker. Each year, the senior class chooses one member to speak for the class. And this year, I am pleased to introduce Katie Wolf. Katie has made tremendous contributions to the Westover community. Academically, she has achieved high honors with distinction every year, but more importantly, her teachers have noted her dedication and energy for her schoolwork. Her commitment as Dorcas Head, her work in Invest in Girls, and her love and zest for the theater program have been commendable. Katie has been an active member of Westover's theater program since her memorable cameo as Boy in Much Ado About Nothing freshman year. She has since captivated audiences in 8 more productions, both comedies and tragedies. She brought her love of writing to our devised theater production, Our Town 2020, and our original musical review, Now Us, and acted as stage manager, head writer, and MC in our live Zoom production. Katie's thoughtful and generous presence as drama head showed her to be a leader, always encouraging the younger students and keeping everyone on track with her great sense of humor and warm personality. We could not be more proud of all that Katie has accomplished. So I am pleased to introduce Katie as this year's student speaker.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to all the families of my wonderful classmates, the loved ones, faculty, and staff watching on live stream, our beloved retiring faculty who are here in person, and of course, today's in-person and virtual guests of honor, the class of 2021. I still cannot believe that I am here addressing you all on the day of graduation. I want to start off by thanking my class again for entrusting me with the great honor of speaking today. I hope that I will make you all proud, and I hope that my speech has at very least come too close to being a proper send-off to all of you incredibly special people. I would also like to thank Mr. Hungerford, my English teacher, for assisting me with editing this speech. You know that saying, misery loves company? It's been said to me countless times throughout this year, almost always coming as an explanation of my observation that I feel far closer to my class this year than I ever had, which is quite an achievement considering that I have felt close to my class since the end of freshman year. And maybe that saying is true. I certainly can't deny the guilty pleasure that commiserating with my friends can be. But I'd also like to propose another saying, one that doesn't contradict the truth of the first, but instead completes it. I'd like to propose that joy loves company. This year has been extremely difficult for all of us. From the abrupt ending of our junior year as we knew it, a year that left us struggling to find a foothold in our high school journey, to the mounting disappointment that we felt as summer progressed with no end to the pandemic in sight, something that told us senior year was going to be completely new territory, for more reasons than just starting new classes and applying to colleges. And although I admit I've been a glass half empty person my whole life, thanks Dad, I don't think I'm being overly gloomy when I say that many parts of this year have really sucked. I don't know about y'all, but I've definitely felt misery in spades. The letdowns of class meetings that brought up more questions that they resolved and presented too harsh realities for every meager bit of comfort offered. The loss of tradition after tradition as the months crawled by. The struggle to adapt to Zoom classes, going back and forth between online and in-person until the word hybrid sounded like a prison sentence. And of course, the heartache of being separated from friends who are more like family, wondering if we'd ever be together again at Westover, our home from home, as the website puts it. Is it a typo, or is it an addition to our beloved mission statement? Who knows?
The day before last year's spring break couldn't have been all that we would get, could it? But as we limped through each long day, wondering what bad news was coming next, I started to notice something new. An unrelenting golden thread of joy, stitching together the complicated and sometimes rather ugly tapestry of our senior year. The stronger the moments of misery felt, the stronger the moments of joy felt. The student commons felt like a safe haven from the turmoil of the world, the eye of the storm both figuratively and sometimes literally, like the day of Germans when we debated whether or not a tornado was coming, again. When I was alone at home with my thoughts, I felt completely overwhelmed. But when I was with my class, I could feel the exponentially expanded small moments of joy that grew from just being together. Joy loves company. We are better together, and that's something that I believe with my whole heart. I am better when I am with you all. I am happier, I am stronger, and dare I say it, I am more resilient. I think that this year we all had moments where we felt frighteningly alone, lost in the confusing process of growing up and moving on, made only more confusing by the new way of life that the pandemic forced us to adopt. But every small moment with you, from laughing at an inside joke, to sunbathing on the balcony during lunch, to the absolute delight of spotting someone I hadn't seen for months across the quad, gave me hope. It gave me strength, and all of those tiny pinpricks of light created a feeling that life can go on. Life maybe hasn't gone on in the way we expected or wanted it to, but some things stayed the same. The love that we have for each other did not weaken throughout this difficult year. We lost many things, many important things that matter to us, and that still stings. We had haphazard and disappointing traditions, many moments of anger and frustration, and none of that can be downplayed at all. Joy does not erase misery. But even through this misery-soaked year, fundamentally, the golden thread of joy that has connected us throughout our time at Westover has still lingered, shining even brighter in a time of darkness. The night of the Zoom call with the Board of Governors, my breakout group was asked the question, what do you want to remember about Westover 50 years from now? That was a question that I had countless answers to. I couldn't possibly pick which memory was more important, what part of this journey meant the most to me. My group eventually came to the consensus that what we really wanted to hold on to was the love that we have for each other and how many good times we all shared. In 50 years, we may not remember every detail, although I desperately wish that was possible. But I don't think it's possible to forget the way we feel about each other and our shared time at Westover. We've shared so much misery and so much joy, and the mark that makes on you doesn't go away easily. It is impossible to forget any of you. You are all such incredible people, and it has been such an honor to know you and to call you my friends. You are what makes Westover my second home, and it is the love that I feel for all of you that will stick with me until the end. I think that above all, this year has taught us that we can endure with the help of each other. No person is an island, and that's okay. No matter how much pressure we may feel to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and solve all our problems on our own, we don't have to. There is no shame in leaning on each other in times of trouble, and I know that even as we embark on our next journeys, spread far and wide across the country and the world, we will be here for each other in those hard times. If we could get through each year of high school together, from adjusting to a new environment, to taking chemistry classes, to Dorcas, to a pandemic, I think we can do anything. Of course, we'll make new friends, find new support systems, and grow into ourselves. But there's a huge comfort in knowing that no matter where we go, or whom we meet, or what we go through, the class of 2021 will stick together. If the big sophomore day student lounge didn't break us apart, absolutely nothing can. I remember that one of my biggest fears about senior year was the idea that something bad would happen to our class. Not a physical bad thing, but something that would tear us apart. I remember seeing deteriorations in the classes before us as their senior year drew on, whispers of fights and drama stemming from the tension of graduation and long simmering conflicts. Although there are moments of conflict that are inevitable in any class, and we are no strangers to the occasional petty drama, does the spilled hot chocolate in Lounge 78 ring any bells? I didn't want us to truly separate in our senior year. No matter how annoyed we got with each other over small things like whose trash was on the floor and who left all the cups in the lounge or who was making all that noise on corridor, at the end of the day, we were still a solid class. And I was worried that the separation that the pandemic brought would splinter us. But once again, we proved that the class of 2021 can and will overcome all odds. We talked to each other. We treated each other with respect and with kindness. We understood that everyone was struggling in their own way. The grace we gave each other was immense. Even if we didn't agree with what someone said or did, at the end of the day, we worked to make those issues water under the bridge. I think that I should mention college, because it's something that has been a major source of stress and struggle for many of us this year. I know that several people may feel less than great about where they're heading off to this fall. I know I am certainly still trying to figure out how I'm feeling about my next step, and if I'm being completely honest, I'm still trying to find a true sense of excitement. And if any of you feel the same way, I want you to know that feelings do change. It's okay if you're not excited. It's okay if you still feel the sting of rejections or waitlists. It's okay if you still feel a bit bitter or disappointed, or if you feel that your hard work didn't pay off as well as it should have. It's okay if this next step feels just as uncertain and upsetting as the rest of this year. Where you are going to college this fall and how well you fared in this crazy admissions season does not reflect on how smart and capable you all are. I know you all, and I know how brightly you will shine no matter where you go. But my confidence in everyone does not negate your own personal feelings, and I understand that. My advice to anyone who is still struggling with this would be to feel those feelings, but try not to sit in them. Know that this next step is not the end-all, be-all, and that, as cliche as it may sound, you are the writer of your own story. Your life is long, and it's okay to make changes. It's okay to realize you are unhappy and to make a different choice. Prioritize your happiness, your joy, because at the end of the day, you are the #1 person in your life. So what I'm saying is, remember that you don't have to stay at a college or a job or anything where you feel unfulfilled. These difficulties are not the end, and you have so many people who are eager to support you as your story changes. When I got rejected from the schools I desperately wanted to go to, I felt like it was the end of my life. But it's not, and I see that now. We all have these moments of misery, and they hurt really badly. But joy does break through if you try and let it. The hurt fades. A new plan forms. I want you all to have hope. Not only for college and any other valid but temporary problems, but in times like these, where so much seems broken and uncertain in the world. If joy does not seem to be present, I implore you to seek it out. The most dependable place to find joy during these hardships is with each other. Joy does not only bubble up organically, joy can be created, oftentimes just being in the presence of those who love you. Find your joy. Create your joy by changing what you can control. Actively search for your joy by seeking out the people, places, and things that make you happiest, because otherwise the world becomes too much to handle. I want to leave this speech off on a hopeful note, because this is a hopeful day in a time where hope can be hard to come by. Each and every day, I am so incredibly proud to be a part of this class. I look at all your faces and see hardworking, beautiful, smart, generous, talented, intelligent, wonderful people. I would continue naming adjectives that describe how incredible you all are, but you'd never get to leave if I did, and I can't in good faith condemn you to those chairs for the rest of your lives. You all will go far, and I am so glad to know that I have been lucky enough to be a part of your life. Though we will be forever united by our experiences at Westover, and as I've already said, I believe we will be available to support each other no matter where life brings us. We will all have new, exciting experiences as we continue throughout our lives. Our paths begin to diverge here. We will walk our own unique roads, but I find my joy in knowing that those roads can and will converge again. We'll never truly be without each other. As Hannah Montana says, we might be apart, but I hope you always know you'll be with me wherever I go. Class of 2021, we will stick together in spirit, even when we are physically separated, because that's what we've always done. We don't know any other way. Now go forth with hope and find your joy, even in the times of darkness. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. And if any of you are wondering how the adults got through the pandemic, it's because she attended Vanderbilt University from 2007 to 2011, graduating with an undergraduate degree in economics and communication. She received a master's in international studies with a concentration in international business from Concordia University, Irvine in 2012, with her thesis highlighting the growing economic relationship between China and mineral-rich countries in Africa. Over the last 7 years, she has worked to cultivate educational programming that elevates marginalized and disadvantaged youth into privileged spaces, first with her work with rural youth in China and subsequently with low-income youth across the United States. So welcome to Westover, Karen.
Wonderful. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you guys doing? Okay, so I'm gonna be honest, I'm from Alabama, okay? And oh, we have somebody Southern? Hello. Okay, you just love Alabama. Me too, I love Alabama. Where I come from, we talk, but we like to be talked back to, okay? So good morning. Oh, y'all are here. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Where I come from, we have a saying, say, let the church say amen. Amen. Okay, y'all are with me. Y'all are with me. I love it. I won't be before you long, not because this class is not deserving of so many wonderful words, but instead because today is not about me. Today is about this wonderful class of 2021 and all that you all have been able to accomplish and conquer over these last 4 years, and the future that lay ahead of you and all the wonderful things that you're gonna do. And also to the parents and those who support them and have stood alongside them for the duration of their lives and created a framework that make it possible for these young people to succeed. First, I'd like to take a moment of silence for the 588,000 lives that have been lost due to this pandemic. We know that today this ceremony has changed, our world has changed because of all the American lives that have been lost, so if we could take a moment. Thank you. You know, as I was contemplating what I was going to say today about this milestone in all of your lives, in this unique time in the world, I began thinking about my grandmother. My grandmother is an older woman from Alabama, and I don't know how many of you still have parents or grandparents that are living, but they do this thing, and I don't know if they do it out here, but they love to read the obituaries. Right? Anybody know that? The obituaries in the news. My grandmother has this habit of taking the Sunday papers, and that's when Sunday papers used to get delivered. They don't anymore. And reading through the obituaries. And in the South, we have a saying that says, Lord have mercy. And she would sit there and she'd read these stories and Lord have mercy. And I would always look at her, and it's like, why in the world are you reading the obituaries? It's literally a page that is full of people who died, people that have passed away, that are no longer with us, right? And they're short snippets, oftentimes no more than 75 words of the lives that they lived and the people that they left behind. And I never really understood it. Didn't make much sense to me. To be honest, a lot of it still doesn't. She also has this habit of looking at the news. My grandmother often watches the news. Not for good news, let me be clear, for catastrophe, okay? When there are fires in California, my phone rings. When there are earthquakes, my phone rings. When I was living overseas and there were issues, like outbreaks, my phone would ring. And my grandmother on the other end of the phone would say, are you okay? Is everything all right? Yes, ma'am, everything's fine. How are the people doing? The people are great. Lord, have mercy. One of the things that I've realized over my life is that she's become a woman that I've looked up to for many reasons. In 2003, like most of you 4 years ago, I left home to embark on something new. I can remember the day. We drove all the way from Alabama to Connecticut. My mother and my grandparents piled in a car with all of my things, and we headed north for this new adventure. And I remember getting to campus and driving through the front gates. I was nervous. I had so much anticipation, a lot of trepidation, fear, anxiety. I was a fish out of water. I was a Southern girl with a strong Southern accent, very strong Southern values, who didn't know how I would fare in this new world that I didn't understand. I could remember the people that were milling about and the ways that they were dressed. I can remember the faculty with smiles across their faces welcoming us to campus, and the seniors gathered in the quad singing our school song as an introduction. It felt like something new, and that scared me. I'm a very interactive person. That's typically how I speak. So graduates, I want you to take a moment, parents too, close your eyes and imagine the first day you came to Westover. Think about what you saw, what you heard, what you smelled, what you felt. Wonderful. Yell out some things to me that you all felt the first day that you got here. Excited? Nervous? Overwhelmed. Come on. I know that's right. Me too. Anything else?
Hot. Yeah, it was really hot.
Hot. Humid. A little bit like today. This breeze is nice. Parents, what about you? What were some of the things that you remember that first day? Some things that you all were feeling as you dropped your kids off at Westover? Elated. Uh-oh. Anyone else? Sorry, say that again? Blessed. I know that's right. Proud. Excited and sad. Yeah. Man, me too. As my mother and grandparents drove away, I can remember there was a numbness, a loneliness, an overwhelming feeling of having all these emotions that I felt like I needed to pour out. I wanted to cry. And I've never been a big crier. There was so much uncertainty about what all of this meant and what was coming next. How could I move forward? How would I fare? You know, grief isn't just the looking at and longing for what was. Grief is this deep emotional state of recognizing that what used to be is no more and coming to accept what is and beginning to look to the future with anticipation. Looking back all these years later, and to Katie's point, I don't remember all the details, but there was grief. I knew that my life was changed, that I would not be the same girl when I left as I was when I walked through the gates. And to a certain degree, I grieved for that. I was sad for that. It was difficult to let go of that. But over time, over the 4 years, there was a lot of successes. A lot of amazing things happened. I made some amazing friends, formed some amazing bonds. I had wonderful opportunities to see the world and make an impact. And it changed my life for the rest of my life. Similarly, I know that you all have had some amazing times here. The study halls, the holidays, the bonding in the dorms, the school assemblies, the theater productions, the sports, the huddling in your dorm rooms after night, talking. I know that there have been some phenomenal moments that you've had here, some wonderful bonds that you've made here. And as you begin to think of what comes next in your life, there may be a sense of numbness, fear, trepidation, maybe some loneliness. You don't know what's coming next. and you're wondering how you will fare. That's grief, and it's natural. But my hope is that you will look to the future, with anticipation of what is to come. Over the last 2 years, COVID has decimated our world. We know that. Things are not the same. We've lost so many lives. So many people's lives are not the same. We've had people that have been unemployed, a lot of difficult things. You all have had to figure out your education and your future in the middle of one of the biggest global crises in our generation. And you did it. And you're here, accomplished, successful, sitting on a stage, flowers in your lap, diplomas at your side, ready to take on the world. If there's one piece of advice I could give to you, always be open to change. Grieve what was lost and anticipate what is to come. The reality is, like the day you walked to this campus, like the day that we found out that there was a global crisis, there will be many more days in your future full of uncertainty, full of the unexpected, full of change. I implore you not to shy away from it, but to lean into it. One of your faculty spoke to me about all the amazing things that you young people want to do out in the world as you embark on this next season of your life. And what is necessary in order to do that is to grieve what is lost, but to embrace what is to come. Your years here will be special. You may not remember the details, but they will be imprinted on your mind. The relationships you have here will last a lifetime. The growth and the people that you've become will forever be different than how it was when you first walked in, and that is a beautiful thing. But this won't be the last time you grow. These won't be the last relationships you make. This won't be the last impact that you leave or the last impact that's made on you. And so I implore you, as you go out into the world, embrace change. Grieving is a natural process of life. Fear, trepidation is a natural part of life. Having anxiety, worries, excitement, and anticipation for what's to come is a natural part of life. And the only way to truly live is to embrace it. Now that I'm older, not too much older than y'all, I'm still a spring chicken, in case you couldn't tell, okay? I still look good. Hello. Thank you, I appreciate that. One clap, my goodness. And I find myself watching the news. Every once in a while, I'll turn on Fox 6, which is our local news station, or Bloomsburg. And I find myself looking at story after story of crisis and difficulties in the world, things that seem insurmountable. And I say to myself, Lord, have mercy. Every once in a while, I'll read through the obituaries. Not the paper, because who gets papers now? Nobody. Online. And I'll read through those stories. And I think now I start to get it. You see, it was those lives that were lived. It was people's capacity to rebound from some of the most difficult situations in their lives. It was the human spirit of resilience that keeps going no matter what. That even when faced with insurmountable odds, we continue to live and we thrive. That can be such an inspiration for the way that you live your life. And so as I look at those news stories and I look at obituaries, and then I have the opportunity to sit before young people like you, I'm inspired. Because I know even as I go out and I live my life and I make my impact, that there are those coming up behind me, those coming up behind your parents that will continue to make an indelible impact on the world, that will continue to push despite insurmountable odds, that have shown their strength and their resilience, their capacity to move on the other side of difficulty, to face some of the most difficult times that any of us have ever known, and to stand with poise and beauty and strength and hope for what comes next, for what the future is. Graduates, you inspire me. You inspire your families. Your stories and your resilience let us know that time continues on, that there are great things ahead, and that we have much to look forward to. And so as you embark on your new journeys, wherever they may take you, as you do new things in the world and shake things up, as you should, be inspired and know that you have all that you need, and you have faced already amazing things and have conquered them, and that you have the capacity to go out into the world and make a difference. I look forward to seeing all that you all accomplish. I look forward to seeing you in the news, not in a crisis way, but in a world-changing way. And I look forward to the legacies that you will leave behind you, not just here at Westover, but in the places that you go on to. Congratulations on today. It was not easy, but you did it. And we are proud. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen. I'm feeling so inspired. First with Katie, and then those words from Karen. So now is the moment you've all been waiting for, which is the awarding of diplomas. So with the assistance of Shelby Neal and Ben Hildebrand, on behalf of the faculty and the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to award Westover diplomas to this graduating class. And would you please hold your applause until the last student in each row has received her diploma. Ben, take it away.
Irene Kim. Amy Selenitsa. Stacy J. Shiaka. Anna Louisa Cruz. Kathleen Mary Protzman. Phoenix Chen Bernardin. Allison Doreen McKenna. Farrell Friday Hoffman. Madeline Jane Abate. McKenna Elise Rook. And Catherine Nicole Wolf. Ishan Shirley Lin. Isabella Sofia Coster Garcia. Wava Carolina Chan. Sabina Xavier Wilson. Juliana Rosaria Mancini. And Nadia Marie Tavares. Asea Nave Montembeau. Lexus Naamele Loco. Maria Ueda. Angela Choi. Isabel May Hoskis. Amanda Jean Altamirano. And Noah Avery. Natalie Elizabeth Brown. Madeline Luli Aho. Madeline Amelia Mallon. Grace Elizabeth Brown. Naomi Danae Filipiak. And Aspen Leah Monroe. And now we will have our in-person students accept diplomas on behalf of our students who couldn't be here in person today. Please come forward. Norma Eileen Dominguez Jimenez. Chuenka Monica Lau. Yui Vivian Lee.
Maggie. It keeps like okay, okay, okay.
Johnny Lisa Liu. Sarah Cooper Oberting.
Yeah, I'm young.
Sage Potbecker. Anran Annie Chow. Rin Sakakibara. Emily Wong Shi. Jairan Janelle Wu. And Joyu Joyce Yang.
Congratulations.
Wait for it. Ready? It is now my distinct pleasure to present the class of 2021.
I don't think I've ever seen more suspense before the final introduction of a class than I did today. So, and it was you can see the love they have for each other. Really is a class like there has never been. So if you could take a seat, I have, I promise, just a very few words before we conclude this graduation ceremony. So, to the class of 2021. The class that has not only endured but thrived, as you can see. The class that decided to embrace optimism and lifted each other up despite all the challenges you faced. And yes, as Katie said, the times of misery as well. It was a hard year. And this class that probably holds the record for most traditions experienced in a one-week period. So congratulations. You have the trial and the gift of the pandemic, and now you can do anything. Anytime there is an obstacle in front of you, you can summon those inner resources that helped you prevail over the past year. If you can get through this year and be here today, much like Karen just said to you, you can truly do anything. And you've also learned some lessons I wish you didn't have to learn so soon. That unfair things happen in life, that you have less control than you think you do. And as people, living through hardships is part of the fabric of life, and it just can't be avoided. However, you've also learned what I think is a crucially important and positive lesson, which is the power of the small act. Even if this sounds a little cliche, small acts have the possibility of adding up to a significant accomplishment. So many years ago, when curbside recycling was just starting, my dad would take great care in sorting and cleaning anything he was putting out this week. He would wash out a used can with as much care as he would do the dishes. And then I read a story, excruciatingly small step for how to safely serve delicious meals in this new world. And all our housekeeping staff figuring out new protocols and working extra hard to sanitize our environment. Thousands and thousands of small acts by members of the entire community. I think of all of the smiles we did not see, which was a sacrifice beyond measure. So much effort by every single member of the community went into keeping campus safe, which means keeping each other safe. Many people are saying this is a lost year, and there is truth in this, but I think we gained as well. The effort, the sacrifice itself, it shows the core of integrity in this community. The fact that it was so important to you and to so many people to do the right thing when it was hard and tedious and when traditions didn't look the same, and things that you had thought of for 4 years were going to be part of your senior year, it didn't quite work out that way. And maybe every time you did refrain from that hug or had to wear that mask, you weren't completely confident it would really make a difference. But you did it on faith, and you did it fueled by love for each other and love for the community. And that has shaped who you are. That, in and of itself, is the lesson of a lifetime. I like to say with courage, all things are possible. And your integrity, class of 2021, who you are, and your knowledge that doing the right thing keeps your integrity intact, fuels your courage. You can scale mountains fueled by that. So go forth, Westover class of 2021. Nurture that precious and singular integrity that you have hard-earned this whole year. Be the courageous, everyday leaders you have been, because you are the hope for our future. So thank you. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce Tom Hungerford to give the benediction.
Please stand. This blessing was written by John O'Donohue, Irish poet and monk, and it uses the word currach, which is a small boat made of canvas. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the currach of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life.
Make way for Westover comes marching from his heart with a rousing cheer. For the spirit that forever will unite us, let your voices ring out clear. And with the banner floating upward, above for all to see, we raise our motto ever, to think, to do, to be, and sing. Hail now to Westover. Raise your voices high.
They're marching out to do the graduation circle, so you can walk up to the arcade.
Make way for Westover comes marching from each heart, give a rousing cheer. For the spirit that forever will unite us, let your voices ring out clear. And with the banner floating upward, above for all to see. Ever. Westover. Comes marching. Ring out clear, and with the banner floating upward, above for all to see, we raise our motto ever, to think, to do, to be, and singing hail now to Westover. Raise your voices high. Westover forevermore, we raise our and there's of old lang syne. A cup of kindness yet old lang syne. Here's a hand my trusty friend, and here's a hand of mine. We'll take a cup of kindness yet old lang syne. Old lang syne, my dear. Old lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet old lang syne. Old acquaintance be forgotten and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgotten and days of old lang syne. Old lang syne, my dear. Old lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet old lang syne. Here's a hand, my trusty friend, and here's a hand of mine. We'll take a cup of kindness yet old lang syne. Old lang syne, my dear. Old lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet old lang syne. Westover comes marching, from each heart give a rousing cheer. For the spirit that forever will unite us, let your voices ring out clear. And with the banner floating upward, above for all to see, we raise our motto ever, to think, to do, to be, and sing. Hail now to Westover, raise your voices high. the spirit that forever will unite. The voices ring out clear. Singing hail out to Westover.
Thank you.